All right, welcome back, and we've got a great guest here in the studio. We have Angie Aker, the Vice President of the Kenosha Public Library Foundation.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, Angie, so good to see you, and the Kenosha Public Library Foundation is an excellent organization here in the community. So if those who don't know about the Kenosha Public Library Foundation, what is it?
So we are a support establishment that helps to raise funds and manage funds to support the library's expansion, not necessarily just geographically, but also its expansion into information technologies, the types of services that it provides. For instance, last year, a little bit more than a year ago, the bookmobile had a faulty generator, and it was going to cost quite a bit to be able to fix that and to keep the bookmobile running. And the bookmobile serves a wide population in Kenosha, especially children and senior citizens in various locations. And the Kenosha Public Library Foundation was able to, instead of saying, let's go out and raise funds, and when we get the money, we'll be able to approve this fix, we were able to fix the generator right away, keep the bookmobile running, and then fundraise after the fact to be able to replenish those funds to make sure there was no interruption in service and that was seamless for the citizens.
Oh, great. Now, you've been with them for quite a little bit, so let's hear, how did you get involved in that?
So a friend of mine was the vice president of the foundation, and he was looking for new members. Some of my experience has been pretty interesting in digital media and publishing, and so he asked me to come on board, and this was a little over 2 years ago. And then about a year into that term, he had stepped down as vice president, and I was stepping in to help take some of that on. We decided this year, it's our first ever Foundation Library Legacy Award Gala that we're putting on. And so there's just a lot of energy on this foundation board, a lot of looking towards the future and expanding and letting Kenosha get to know us of what we do to support those library services.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that event coming up. What's it all about?
So it's on October 7th. It's going to be held at the Simmons Library, and we're going to be honoring Howard and Betsy Brown, the late Howard and Betsy Brown, who Howard is well renowned throughout the city, as is Betsy, for his contributions just about in every pillar of society that we enjoy as Kenoshans, right? So he was the owner of the Kenosha News, and he was just a great humanitarian and philanthropist around town, and Betsy carries on that tradition as well. So we would like to honor them, and we'd like to show Kenoshans a good time when they come out to this event. And so we'll have a silent auction, we'll have a jazz trio, we'll have catered small plates and desserts from Sassy Bee, as well as we'll also have fire dancers out on the lawn, which we think will be quite a spectacle at the end of the evening. But we're really excited about having this chance with the historic Simmons Library to be able to use that space both inside and outside on the terrace and on the lawn to be able to let guests mingle and to get a little bit of a history lesson too about the library.
Oh, absolutely, especially right in the center, the downtown area, which is booming as well. So, I mean, this is a great location to have it.
For sure.
And then as far as, so what's the importance of the libraries? Let's talk about that. What's your feelings on it?
Oh, I think the library really, in a time where America has got one of the biggest income inequalities and income gaps between the people who are doing very well for themselves and the people who are struggling to get by. Libraries for a long time have been kind of a great equalizer of that gap, giving access to information and knowledge and giving people a way to develop skills for the workplace that they might not otherwise be able to develop. For instance, our library system, we have one of the best in the state. Our library system offers classes for coding, to computer programming, and it helps. They have programs for teens and tweens as well to help get them conversant in those technologies if their schools are not necessarily providing them that opportunity. So it's really not just providing, the books that maybe we went and we pulled out the card catalog when we were kids, right? But they're really providing access to this wide world of information and job skills that Kenoshans might not otherwise have.
Absolutely. Some people may always say, well, everybody has the internet. Well, that's not so. And that way they can actually get on the internet or go on to write a resume or anything like that. And that's just one area.
Absolutely.
And then we have multiple branches, which is great. Not every community has that.
Right.
So that way people on the north side of town can north, and then the Simmons and the Central, Southwest, and I believe the one on the West Branch.
That's right. And then we also, I don't know, you might have mentioned Uptown, and I might have missed that as well. They've got that. It's very, I think in those particular areas, it's important to have libraries that are embedded within the communities, that are within walking distance, so that everybody can take advantage of those. And on top of that, if that wasn't enough, there's more. We actually have tablets and iPads and other types of technology that we do bring out. We are able to deliver it to people who are homebound or who are not able to get back and forth to the library, as well as a modem, so that they can have internet connectivity. And so they check that out, and we bring it to them, and then we bring it back when they're done with it, so that they can use it in their homes as well. And so that's really bridging that gap between being able to get out of your house and even access that information.
And then plus the bookmobile.
Plus the book, yeah, exactly. So any way that we can get out to the people and reach the people, that's what we've got our eyes on.
Right. And then the library also has lectures or events or things throughout the year too.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's where the Kenosha Library Foundation comes in to help keep this going. And also there's a Friends of the Library. Now what's the differences, or how do you guys work together?
Yeah, we're quite separate entities. We sort of, I think Friends of the Library watches out for certain types of programming that might be under their wheelhouse, that they can provide to. Okay. We're more of a general catch-all, so for instance, we've got general funds that, about a year ago or so, we approved the funding for the Shakespeare at the Park. Yeah. Those types of programs, which are just really great enrichment opportunities for our local community. And then we also help to approve funding for, I believe, a bank of computers at the Southwest Library as well. And so every time, there's an opportunity to expand or to improve, or if there's sort of one of those hiccups, like with the bookmobile needing that immediate assistance, we're there to be able to make those judgment calls and decide, how to manage the money and make sure that they get what they need.
Well, that's terrific. So let's go back to the event coming up, the date and the time.
That's right. So it's October 7th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at Simmons Library in downtown Kenosha. If people would like to buy a ticket, the tickets are $75. And I'm going to pull out a piece of paper because I cannot memorize telephone numbers. But you can buy them in person at the Library Administration Building at 812 56th Street, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You can also call and buy them over the phone, or you can go to bit.ly/KPLFGALA and be able to order them right online as well.
Great, great. Now, I believe you talked about you have some writing skills, or have you published anything that I can go to the library and check out yet?
I don't have distribution in the library system yet. I'm still a little chicken, but getting my feet wet. I do have a poetry book available online if you Google my name. So yes, and those are just sort of published on demand. So.
Oh, okay, great, great. And then as far as, so for the Library Foundation, can we donate or volunteer? Or what opportunities can we do there?
Absolutely. We're always looking for board members to join and to help us to steer and to, appraise new opportunities that are coming our way. People from varying types of backgrounds, whether it's legal, whether it's writing, whether it's PR, whether it's financial. We're always looking for people with a talent that they want to lend to this board. And so volunteering is great. Donating is great. On the Kenosha Public Library website, there is an area for the foundation itself, and so if you'd like to donate, you can go to that spot on the site.
Excellent. Any last minute things that you want to touch on, whether it's the event or the library? Or you think you covered a lot, but
well, I did want to say a little bit about Howard and Betsy Brown. And for instance, Howard and Betsy Brown have a fund through the library which is specifically earmarked for innovations in information services. And one of the ways that we're using that fund here in the near future, in the coming months, is what we call a tween space at the Southwest Library. There is a portion of the library that was just being a little bit underutilized in the children's section. The director and the staff noticed that they had a space specifically for teens and a space specifically for smaller children, but not really a comfortable space for the in-betweens, the tweens, in that sort of 11 to 14 age range. And they come in for a lot of the programs, learning, again, some of those coding, some of those science, the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, math. They have programs for that. And so they're actually designing a whole new spot in that space at the Southwest Library called the Tween Space. And that's something that the Howard and Betsy Brown Fund is definitely leaving as a lasting legacy for us. And we're just really excited to be able to honor them at this event.
Oh, yeah, and they're so pro literacy as well. So this is absolutely terrific. If so, want information about the Library Foundation, is there a website or Facebook? I don't know.
Absolutely. So we are on Facebook. So find us at Kenosha Public Library Foundation. You'll find the information about the event there as well. And you can also find us on the Kenosha Public Library website.
All right. Well, it's an honor to have Angie Aker here, Vice President of Kenosha Public Library Foundation, which does an excellent job in the community. And by all means, go out and support your Kenosha Public Library and go out to the event. And let's give a big round of applause to the one and only Angie Aker.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back.